Hi everyone, welcome to this video which is looking at specifically the extract overview for Othello. So it's the first part of the first question on the tragedy paper, and we want to look at how to get the start of your essays right and write a really good convincing overview that will allow you to do the best you can in this assessment. Okay, and this is a thing we cover quite often, so I thought the best thing to do was to record this so that your teachers don't have to keep saying the same thing. They can just tell you to go and watch the video again. So the first thing you need to think about, you can't write a good overview unless you have got a really good handle on what is going on in the extract. And that is often something we see that is done really badly by students, where their first paragraph effectively turns into a narrative as they work their way through the extract and just keep writing at the same time. And that is not what we're after at all. So the first thing you need to do is put your pen down. Read the extract carefully and actually figure out what is happening without trying to make notes and think as you go. The first thing you need to do is ascertain what is going on in this extract, where it's from, and you need to think to be able to do that. So stop writing until you've got that information straight. Then when you go through a second time, jot down your ideas for the overview in the corner. So in the video for the general advice for this question, I showed you an example of how to annotate it for your aspects of tragedy. Well, included within that, you also ought to have a little bullet point list at the bottom where you go, starts like this, then this happens, ends like that. So you're getting the shape of the extract down in note form before you start trying to write anything. Then you identify your three aspects of tragedy, and that's when you start annotating the extract proper with the colour coding, nice clean annotations that's modelled in the other video. Okay, so as a top tip, I would really strongly recommend that you look at the beginning and ending of the extract because decisions have been made there. It may be an extract from the start of a scene, in which case Shakespeare was making a decision, or it's an extract that finishes at the end of a scene, in which case Shakespeare made a decision about how to start it and how to end it for the maximum dramatic impact. At some point, the examiners have made a choice. At some point, the examiners have gone, we either want it to start here because there's an important bit at the start, or they've made a decision about where it's ending and there's an important bit at the end. And I think it's really important that you look at the whole extract, not just the soliloquy that's in the middle perhaps, or the dramatic interaction, but a decision has been made to stop it at that line, not the line earlier, or to start it at that line and not a line later. So what is it about the starts and ends that are vital to the overall cohesion of the extract? So when you've done that, you then need to think about constructing an overview. So this should be familiar to you. Your first sentence of your answer contextualizes the extract. This extract comes before da 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 and after da 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 da. So you know exactly where in the scene the play this is coming. And remember, there are some big scenes in this, so it's particularly important you know where it happens inside a scene. So where in Act 4, Scene 1, where in Act 3, Scene 3, because they are very big scenes that lots happening, and you need to know that you have got your order of events correct. Your second sentence is identifying the point of this extract. It's what changes in this play. It's where something revelatory happens or we learn something. It's the I know why you've picked this sentence. So you're saying to the examiner, I get the overall relevance of this whole extract because this is the bit where this. Okay. You then move on to exploring the shape of the extract from the beginning through to the end, but you need to talk about the significance of it. We don't just want a narrative. And our final sentence at the end of the paragraph is explaining how the audience are left or positioned at the end of the extract going forwards to the rest of the play. So at the end of the extract, we are left feeling, or we're left waiting for, or expecting, or we're left reeling from something that shows that this has had a dramatic impact on the audience. Now, as I say, the third section is the hardest bit because we don't want you to just retell the story. You need to comment on how things are developing and how it's moving the story forwards. Okay. So this is an example from a Band 5 response that the AQA gave us. And it's really key because it does help to show you this in practice. practice. So we begin, this extract comes after Desdemona and Othello's reunion, but before Iago puts his plan into action. So very clearly contextualising it. We then get in this extract, Iago confidently begins his first step in his machinations with his easy power. So that's I know why this is important, because this is the first part of Iago's plan. And you ought to by now be going, okay, so this is from Act 2, Scene 1. It's something to do with Rodrigo. So right away, from the quality of this student's writing, you can locate the extract that they are writing about without even having it there. Now, when we're looking at the shape of the extract, as I've said, you can see here some comments that are more effective. So this will be his first successful plan in instigating Othello's downfall, as in Act 1, his attempt to challenge him through Brabantio miserably failed. So you've got words in there like first successful and miserably failed, which have some level of commentary in them. So it is not simply telling me what happened, but showing an awareness of the significance of this. You've got some comments on structure, signalling Iago's increasingly powerful skills as a villain. So we're looking at aspects of tragedy, his villainy, and some comments on the structure, that he's becoming increasingly powerful. We've got links to AO2, where we're talking about his soliloquy and the drama of this after Rodrigo has been sent packing off stage. So that sense of how this looks in performance. None of this is laboured. This is all very easy and comfortable for this student. It's someone who knows this, is thinking about it as a play. We then get towards the end, where we're talking about indeed, as he wants, Othello will indeed be put into a jealousy so strong that judgment cannot cure. And then we've got that sense of us being positioned, creating a feeling of dread and fear as Othello's tragic trajectory appears well on its way. So that's how we've been positioned at the end, where we end this scene with this sense of dread and fear, because we can see what is going to happen to Othello. So that is what we're talking about with an overview. It's not very short. The exam board are really keen to emphasise that you have to write a different type of essay for this answer to your debate questions. So your debate questions are your more conventional essays. This one is a different type of answer, and the same sort of advice goes for your crime extract. But this idea that you have to establish quite a lengthy overview, and that's why we're using that word overview rather than introduction, because you have to show you that you understand the whole purpose of the extract and what's going on before you start deconstructing it. Okay, and so it's really important that you heed that advice that you've been given. So this is an example from a student from a couple of years ago who wrote a really nice Band 4 essay, and this is their extract, their overview for their extract. So prior to this extract, Cassio loses his job as lieutenant because he was drunk, thanks to Iago's crucial, albeit minimal, persuasion. So again, you see that use of that parentheses there, where I'll do some underlining instead. Where you've got a little drop in which is commentating on what's happening and showing some critical response to this. So we've got what's happened before, so we can identify this. Capitalising on Cassio's vulnerability, Shakespeare shows Iago's easy manipulation of the trust other characters have in him. So we're focusing on Shakespeare and what he's doing. Okay, you always want to get Shakespeare in there as often as you can. So we then develop in this extract, Shakespeare utilises Iago's third soliloquy. Look at the precision of the knowledge there. So they know exactly where this is coming and how much Iago's already spoken to the audience to solidify the character's grip on the audience while enhancing his status as tragic villain. So really good, effective commentary there about what's going on in this extract and its significance. It's not just telling me what's happening, it's telling me why it's important. And again, we get a similar thing to the end. The revelations of this scene establish a dramatic irony that instills a contradictory concoction of hopelessness, despair, and anticipation as we await the outcome of Iago's plans. So that is an excellent sense of us being positioned at the end of this extract, where we're being positioned at the end of this extract, moving forwards. So this overview is exactly the sort of thing we're after. Okay, it sets up this essay beautifully. and it is really important that you understand the significance of each individual part of your essays. Okay, this is an example that I wrote a little while ago while I was invigilating a mock exam, so I'm prepared to put my money where my mouth is. So you can see how it fits together. So this extract from the end of Act 2, Scene 1 sees the tragic villain. So I actually haven't done brilliantly there because I've not done as well as I could have done in contextualising exactly where it is. So right from the start, you can spot where things could be done better. The extract begins with Iago, so I'm starting with the structure by demonstrating Iago's hold over the socially superior Rodrigo as he commands him to find some occasion to anger Cassio in order to provoke a fight. Here Shakespeare is establishing Iago's modus operandi. So here I'm explaining why this is significant. Okay. And commentating on the significance of the content of the extract, not just what's happening. Okay, so you can follow that through, and again it's working its way through the extract. So we get here Iago unfolds more of his motivation for hating Othello, reiterating his fear that the lusty Moor hath leaped into my seat. Don't be afraid of using quotations in your overview. Some people are. You don't have to do a load of analysis, but quite often it's much faster to use the language that Shakespeare's given us rather than trying to paraphrase it badly. While also confirming that his ultimate aim is to put the Moor at least into a jealousy so strong that judgment cannot cure, effectively aiming to reduce the impressive Othello to the irrational being that Iago exemplifies. So again, commentating on why this detail of the extract is significant to the tragedy overall. The extract ends with Iago's determination to continue his machinations while also acknowledging them to be yet confused, confirming his role as the great improviser in Shakespeare's canon. So again, how we've been positioned at the end with this sort of anticipation of where Iago's going, as well as a sense of almost admiration for his skill. Okay, so there are different ways of going about this, but they all fundamentally follow the same sort of system, where you're beginning with contextualizing, which I did do here, just not terribly well. Then I've got my why you've picked it. This is beginning to put his plan into action. And then I've got the shape of it, and then we've got how we're positioned. Same with the other two. Okay, so it's a system that works if you practice and follow it. Okay, so remember, you need to show what the extract is, where it happens, and why it's important or significant. By focusing on the extract first, by doing this establishing opening paragraph, for those of you who have a tendency to wander off the extract, it makes sure that your first paragraph is absolutely relevant, okay, which is band 3. So it's a really good sort of safety net for starting to tick those boxes. This can very easily be practiced in your own time. Okay, pick an extract, whatever you like, write an overview. And again, there's no excuse for you not doing that other than you can't be bothered. And if you can't be bothered, that's fine, that's your choice. But these are very easily practicable. And you should not be going into that exam without having written a lot of these in preparation. And your overviews are better the more preparation you've done on the extract in the first place. So this again comes down to, don't race at it. Give yourself a chance to think and follow a process before you start writing, because that will allow you to have a much more conceptual response rather than narrating. So, as I say, you've got to be very careful of narration and always think about where the extract begins and ends, because choices have been made there and it's something that a lot of students overlook. But you want to talk about the whole extract, not just the flashy dramatic bits in the middle. Okay, good luck.